Hey there. So you've probably seen those three little dots pop up in JavaScript code and wondered, okay, what's the deal with those? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this super powerful syntax. We're going to see how it makes our code way cleaner, a lot more flexible, and honestly, just better. Let's jump right in. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the why. What problem are we even trying to solve? Then we'll check out the modern solution. We'll even take a quick look at the old, clunky way of doing things before we get to the flip side of the coin. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with one simple rule to tell them apart. Alright, let's kick things off by framing the problem. It's a question every single developer runs into. How do you build a function that can handle, well, any number of inputs you throw at it? I mean, think about it. You use built-in JavaScript functions like math.max all the time, right? You can give it 2 numbers, 5 numbers, a dozen numbers, and it just works. It never complains. How does it do that? That's the mystery we're unraveling today. This right here is the heart of the issue. If we write a simple function like sum of a comma b, it's totally rigid. If you try to pass it 5 numbers, it'll use the first 2 and just straight up ignore the rest. Throws them right out. That's a huge waste. And we need a way to capture all of them. So how do we fix this? Well, the modern, super clean answer is something called REST parameters. The keyword to burn into your brain here is gathers. Those 3 dots literally gather up all the loose arguments and pack them neatly into a single, and this is the important part, a real JavaScript array. And boom, here's the magic in action. By putting args in our function definition, SumAll can now take as many arguments as we want. Inside the function, that args variable is a beautiful standard array, just like 1, 2, 3, which is awesome because now we can use all our favorite array methods on it, like .reduce to get the sum. So clean. Now there's one really big rule you gotta remember. You can totally have regular named parameters first, like first name and last name. But the rest parameter, the one with the 3 dots, it has to be the very last one, no exceptions. Think of it as the one that sweeps up everything else that's left over. To really appreciate just how amazing REST parameters are, it helps to see what we had to deal with before. If you look at older JavaScript code, you're going to see this thing called the arguments object. Oh, the arguments object. It looks like an array. It kind of acts like an array, but it's a trap. It's only array-like, which means you can't just call .map on it or .filter on it. You have to do all these weird workarounds. Plus, it doesn't even work in arrow functions. REST parameters just fix all of that nonsense. It's a true array every time. Okay, so we've seen how to gather a bunch of individual items into an array. But what if your problem is the complete opposite? What if you already have an array and you need to break it apart into a list of individual items for a function? This happens all the time. You've got your data sitting perfectly in an array, like 3, 5, 1. But a function like math.max doesn't want an array. It wants a list of separate arguments, like math.max 3, 5, 1. If you pass it the array directly, it just throws up its hands and gives you NaN, not a number. And here come our 3 little dots again, to the rescue. Only this time, they're doing the reverse job. Instead of gathering, they are spreading or unpacking. The spread syntax takes something like an array and opens it up, laying out all its individual elements. And check out how elegant this is. By putting the 3 dots before our array when we call the function, we're basically telling JavaScript, hey, don't pass this array in as a single box. Instead, open the box and pass in each item inside as a separate argument. And just like that, it works perfectly. And this is where it gets really powerful. Spread isn't just for function calls. It has become a Swiss Army knife for modern JavaScript. You can use it to merge arrays in a super clean way, make a quick copy of an array or an object, or even instantly break a string down into an array of its characters. It's incredibly useful. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It's the same 3 dots. How in the world do you know if it's gathering things with REST or spreading them out with spread? Well, it turns out there's a super simple rule. It's all about context. And here it is, the one rule to rule them all. It all comes down to where you see the 3 dots. If you see it in a function's definition, in the parameter list, it's REST. It's gathering things into an array. If you see it in a function call, or when you're making a new array, it's spread. It's expanding things out of an array. That's it. That's the whole. Alright, let's bring this all home and really understand why this triple dot magic is such a crucial part of your modern JavaScript toolkit. The big picture here is that rest and spread aren't two separate ideas you have to memorize. They're two sides of the very same coin. Together, they give you this amazing fluid power to switch back and forth between a list of individual things and a single array that holds those things. And that's really the main takeaway. This syntax isn't just a party trick. It's a fundamental tool that lets you write code that's cleaner, more powerful, and way more expressive. You now have this incredible ability to gather and spread data whenever you want. So the real question is, what are you going to build with it?